Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. सयोगी ब्रह्म निर्वाणम ब्रह्मणि निवृत्ति मोक्षम इह जीवन एव ब्रह्मभूतः सन् अधिगच्छति प्राप्नोति. This yogi, which was referred in the 24th verse, he who is living as Satchidananda, free from the fear of extinction, deception and miseries, he who has discovered the source of bliss to be himself, he has already attained oneness with the Brahman. Means what? He has recognized his correct identity. Such a yogi, continuing further in verse number 25, Labhante Brahma Nirvanam ऋषयः क्षीणकल्मषाः छिन्नद्वैधायतात्मानः सर्वभूतहिते रताः. लभन्ते ब्रह्म निर्वाणम. ब्रह्म निर्वाण is moksha. See, nirvana, someplace Swami Khandanji gives the definition of this word nirvana as, this vana is actually as bana, the arrow. So nirvana, nirbana is one and the same. So which are the arrows which destroy us every moment? The arrows of fear. Fear of extinction, fear of deception and fear of miseries. So Brahma Nirvanam, the one who has no more any fear of these three kinds, Labhante Brahma Nirvanam. Therefore, he has attained moksha. Rushayaha, who has attained moksham? Rushayaha. Rushaya means Samyak Darshinaha Sannyasinaha. Rishi is the one who has the correct understanding. See, Samyak Darshan means correct understanding. We have understanding. We may have incomplete understanding. We may have misunderstanding. But we must have correct understanding. And that is what Samyak Darshinaha is meant. Like, when we listen to the teacher, we understand. But whether our understanding is right or wrong, who will know that? And if this is true with reference to the ordinary knowledge, when it comes to the self-knowledge, how we will know that we have realized the truth? That's why many people ask this question. To reply to those questions in this topic, that now I have realized the truth, why should I struggle? If the thought comes that I am struggling, then you have not realized truth. See? It is something like, the river has reached the ocean. Now the river water tells, why should there be any movement in the water? So let it stop in one place. So, Labhante Brahma Nirvanam Rushayaha Kshina Kalmashaha. Kshina Kalmashaha Rushayaha. So, Samyak Darshinaha Sannyasinaha Kshina Kalmashaha Kshina Papadi Doshaha. Those who have given up the limitations of papa, etc. Now again, what is the papa? This papa we have to understand in the correct perspective where the topic is being discussed. Like in the second chapter, Bhagavan says, Sukha dukhe same krutva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsasi. There, papa means the impressions of likes and dislikes, etc. Then in other place, Arjuna asked a question in the 3rd chapter. Atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha. So there the meaning of papa is the impressions of likes and dislikes on the mind. Because unless we are having some kind of liking or disliking, we will not be prompted to any kind of activity. So, labhante nirvanam mrishayaha kshina kalmashaha. Now in the present context, what will be the meaning of papa? So papa is he who is mistaking that he is the doer. He who is mistaking that he is not the akarta, but he is the karta. Because here the topic started, karmani akarmayaha pashet akarmani cha karmayaha. Therefore, although the word remains the same, the meaning of the word is different. So here the meaning is he who does not have the right understanding. He who thinks that the modification of the body, mind, etc. are his modification. He who thinks that the limitations of the body, mind, etc. are the real limitation. So this mistaken identity is the papa. So kshina kalmashaha, kshina papadi doshaha. Now here he has no more wrong identity. Because the highest sin is mistaken identity is the highest sin. Out of this sin only all the subsequent miseries are born. So kshina papadi doshaha. Then chinnadvaidhaha, chinna samshayaha. So what are the samshaya? Plural, chinna samshayaha. We have samshaya, doubt, misunderstanding, incomplete understanding regarding 4 things. First is regarding ourselves. Second is regarding the world. Third thing regarding the God who created the world. And fourth thing, the absolute reality. So when we have the samshaya, dvidha means samshaya. Dvidha means 2 ways. Whether this way or that way. That is called a samshaya. Chinna, totally destroyed. Now he has no more doubt regarding his own identity. He has no more doubt that the world is in me but I am not in the world. He has no more doubt that a God is not somewhere above the clouds, but he is the very much inner controller of the relative world. And he has no doubt that all this relativity is valid from the relative standpoint. From the absolute standpoint, none of these have any meaning. And therefore, chinna samshayaha, no doubts left anymore. And yatatmanaha sayyatendriyaha. See, understanding leads to self-restraint. For example, if we are having a doubt that whether this food is pure, proper or not, then there will be always either I should eat or I should not eat, dvidha. When we have a clear understanding that this food is poisonous, then there is no doubt, we will not eat it. In the same manner, here yatatmanaha sayyatendriyaha, because they have recognized their self, because they have understood the illusory nature of the world, because they have understood that this is all because of the senses, that the relativity is strengthened, and because of that self-control becomes natural for them. Yatendriyaha, then sarvabhuta hite rataha, sarvesham bhutanam hite anukulle rata ahimsakaha ityartaha. And sarvabhuta hite rataha is those who do not have violence in life. See, what is the violence in life? Violence in life is the sense of otherness is violence. Violence, the other definition you know very well. Violence means injuring, killing, etc. Non-violence means what? Non-violence means when there is no sense of otherness, there cannot be fear, there cannot be desire, there cannot be hatred, and therefore there cannot be violence against. Even those people who kill themselves, suicide, etc., that is the violence against themselves, because they feel that killing the body is an attainment of something higher. So, sarva bhuta hite rataha, sarveshan bhutanam hite anukulle rataha. They are always busy rataha in the welfare of the world. You know, it is something like what? The flowers are busy in spreading the fragrance. Yes, very right. So what they do? Do they go from door to door? Fragrance wala, chahiye kya babuji? No. Wherever they are, fragrance is natural to them. In the same manner, sarva bhuta hite rataha, they do not have any special project of improving the world or the society. But wherever they are, their very presence makes all the difference to the world. In this manner, Rishayaha, this great sannyasinaha, samyak darshinaha, kshina kalmashaha, chinnadvaithaha, yatatmanaha, sarvabhuta hite rataha, brahma nirvanam labhante. This is how the sentence is. So, by now you must have understood how we make the anvay, the prose order. First of all, take all the nominatives, they take the verb and go on introducing the other things in between. So this is how this wise man who is established in the Brahmatmakya Bodha, he leads a life of total freedom, and his freedom alone becomes a blessing to the world. Further, Kama Krodha Viyuktanam Yatinam Yatachetasam Abhito Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam. Kama Krodha Viyuktanam. Now see, you must be very clear now by now how to read this word. Kama, desire, Krodha, anger, Kamaha cha, Krodhaha cha. Kama Krodhau. Tabhyam Viyuktanam. Those who have discovered total freedom from the desire and anger. Now see, Kama Krodha Viyuktanam. What was said in the last two verses? That Shaknoti Haivaya Sodhum Prak Sarira Vimokshanad Kama Krodhod Bhavam Vegam. The same one. Kama Krodha Viyuktanam. They have no more influence of desire or anger. That means they have attained samatva. Further, Yatinam Sannyasinam. Here again, please remember the word sannyasi. The topic we should never forget what is going on. Otherwise, what happens, we get obsessed by certain words. Like, those who are following the path of devotion, for them, knowledge is nonsense. Because they have got some fixed notion about knowledge. Similarly, when here sannyasi Bhagavan is telling, if you have got a fixed notion, sannyasi means what? He who has taken sannyas. That is not the meaning. We are told very clearly, sannyasi is who? He who is karmani akarma yaha pashyati. He is a sannyasi. Jo na dveshti na kankshati. Neyasya nitya sannyasi. Therefore, about him this is being said. So, yatinam sannyasinam. Yatas chetasam. Sanyata antakkarananam. Those whose mind, antakkaran, is under absolute control. Now, sanyata means what? Here, our Patanjali, we can invoke Sayyama. The general translations, when we take, the depth and impact doesn't come. Control is a very simple common word. But what Patanjali Maharshi tells us, he who has controlled his mind with reference to time, space and object or is called as a Sayyama. Therefore, Sanyata Yata chetasam sanyata antakarananam means what? He has attained perfection in dharana. Second thing, he has attained complete perfection in dhyana. No more topics ever disturb him other than the one chosen, and samadhi for a long period of time. Such a well-controlled mind alone becomes an asset and an instrument for something higher. Otherwise, we simply imagine to control the mind. Therefore, if you really want to practice this control of mind, this is one of the techniques given. We will study one of the meditations, that when you are sitting quiet, after you have discarded the doership and everything, then hold one point. This is how you know the chakras are important. If you hold outside somewhere, then it becomes objective. So when you hold that, let us say Anahat Chakra, so the place is behind the heart, the sternum. So there you hold your mind. Now the mind is not allowed to go from here to any other place. So this is called as the dharana abhyas. Now the mind is controlled with reference to place. Deshataha bandha. Then the second thing, vastutaha. So in that place we take only one object. Uma sahayam parameshwaram prabhum trilochanam neelakantham prashantam dhyatva. So in that one place we hold on to one object, the Lord. And then for a long period of time. So when the mind is tied down to one place on one object for a long period of time successfully, this practice is called as the Sayyama Abhyas. And then it will become a meaningful thing, otherwise no. So, yatinam yatachetasam, then yatachetasam sanyata antakarananam abhitaha ubhayataha. Abhitaha ubhayataha means what? Jivatam mritanancha. While living they are one with the Absolute. Naturally, after the death of the body, nothing is added or subtracted from them. That means they are Jivan Mukta as well as Videha Mukta. Therefore, Abhitaha. Abhitaha doesn't mean from now onward, Abhise. So, Abhitaha Ubhayataha. Jivatam Mritanancha. Brahma Nirvana Moksho. So, Brahma Nirvana is the moksha, the liberation from the limitations of the death, the ignorance and the miseries. This is called as the moksha, Brahma Nirvanam. So for them here the liberation is from the small I. Who is the small I? Small I is the one who has got the sense of doership and the one who has got the sense of enjoyership, kartrutva, bhoktrutva. So that is given up and therefore it is liberation from I. So Brahma Nirvanam Moksho Vartate, they abide in. So they abide in this total freedom from I. Who are those? Kama Krodha Viyuktanam 1, Yatinam 2, Yatachetasam 3, and 4th, Viditatmanam. See, if you can classify the total description, it is in two parts. One is with reference to the conditionings and the modifications of the conditioning. Conditioning is what? Chetas, etc. What is the modification? Kama, Krodha, etc. And third is Yatinam, those who are Sannyasinam. For such people, on one side, other side, Viditatmanam, those who are Samyak Darshinam ityartaha. Samyak Darshi, again the same word what we have seen in the last words, Rishayaha. So those who have discovered the correct identity about their being, for them liberation is guaranteed experience, and that is in the form of freedom from I. Now here, liberation is not like the liberation in the karma kanda. After you die, you go to the heaven or the hell, and there you get the yatana deha, and through that yatana deha, first you have to go to the hell. That is the rule. And after you go to the hell, there all the sins that you have done, accordingly you get punishment. And the fun in that punishment is, your that yatana deha, that body doesn't die. They will make a jumbo pakoda out of you in a boiling oil, and you will be laid on the table, and all the vultures will start pecking and biting and pulling you here and there, and you will suffer. You will not die. So this is the Jiva's gati. The Jiva goes to hell or heaven. We are not talking about that. We are talking about the very validity of the existence of Jiva. Is there something called as Jiva? And therefore, Samyak Darshinam Viditatmanam, those who have the right understanding about them. Now the question comes, why these topics then are so much explained in our scriptures? That prarabdha karma, sanchit karma, agami karma, kriyamana karma, and karma phala taking you to the hell or the heaven, urdham gachanti sattastha, madhye tishtanti rajasa, jaganya gunavrittistha, tamo gachanti tamasaha. Why all these stories? Now the question is, something is said. Now what you understand is your genius. See? Do you remember I had given you one example long time back, when the teacher was teaching about the air. So he looked out and how to tell the students. So he showed. Do you see that tree? Yes. You see it's moving? Yes. That because of which the tree is moving is called as the air. The teacher said, but what you understand is your genius. In the same manner, these jiva bhava, going to hell and heaven, karma, papa, punya, this is said in the scriptures. But what you understand out of it depends on your biasness. So if you are so much involved only at the upadhi level, then only dharma, adharma, good, bad, in that only whole life is wasted. And if you go still further, then it becomes an asset. What is an asset? That we stop blaming the world, because whatever we have is our own creation, and then we start behaving properly in this life so that the next life is taken care of. This is how we start exercising control and self-restraint on ourselves. That is the purpose. Thereafter, we go one step further. That if I existed before, now and afterward, therefore I am a continuous existence. So if I am a continuous existence, then who am I? And then the inquiry is set. And then we come to know that there is nothing like Jiva. It is only the expression of the infinite through the finite. That fun is called as Jiva. See? And when this understanding takes place, there cannot be any desire, there cannot be any anger, there cannot be any loss or gain. Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labho jaya jayo. Thereafter only vidya vinay sampanne brahmane gavihastini shuni chaiva swapake cha panditaha samadarshinaha. Then only this happens. Therefore, viditatmanam viditaha jnataha atma yesham te viditatmanaha tesham viditatmanam samyak darshanam ityartaha. Therefore, what is the ultimate now? Ultimate is only this. Discover your correct identity. All that which is helping us in discovering our correct identity, that is spiritual practice. And all that which is troubling us every now and then about anything is samsara. See? How simple it is. And the more you become contemplative about it, everything opens up. Like khul jao sim sim. We ourselves have only tied us down in the web of our own thoughts. And therefore the whole misery begins. Become extremely aware about it. I am not telling you to concentrate. Concentration will take you away from yourself. Don't come, because suppose you have to understand, learn something. So what you do? You have to concentrate. Labhante brahma nirvanam rishaya kshina kalmashaha. See? There is concentration. And awareness is what? You are sitting and it is extremely experienced by you. So awareness is a subjective phenomena. Concentration is an objective approach. This is what is said here. Viditatmanam. Viditaha jnataha atma yesham te viditatmanam. Those who have recognized their correct understanding about being. For them, abhitaha, jivataha, jivan eva, mritanam cha. Also after death, they are ever liberated from the limitation of this I. Thereafter, the life is life of spontaneity. There is no load. There is no struggle. Because there is nothing to be achieved. There is nothing to be protected. Now for such a experience, we cannot call it as a person. For such an experience, can there be even a trace of ego because of the success, or a trace of failure because of the failure? No, it cannot. So, having told this, the glory of giving up the doership and recognizing the absolute unchanging substratum in and through all the changes. Now, Bhagavan takes up introduction to the next chapter. This is the beauty of our Bhagavad Gita. Each chapter is complete in itself. Plus, the conclusion of each chapter sows seeds for the beginning of the next chapter. So, each chapter is like a ring, and all the chapters are interlinked and makes a beautiful garland. Samyak darshana nishthanam sannyasinam sadyo muktihi ukta. So, those who have attained this perfect understanding about the self, meaning Brahmatmaikya Bodha. Please remember this word. It is not Brahmatmaikya Bhava. It is not Sarvatmya Bhava. It is Sarvatmya Bodha. In Bhava, it is at the level of the mind. In Bodha, it is at the level of the experience. I am is a Bodha. And I am dumb is the Bhava. Like many people say, no, oh, for ignorant people like us, what can you do, Swamiji? Your story is different. They don't want to change, therefore they talk like this. As if because you are married, you are qualified, licensed to become miserable. Continue. Samyak darshana nishthanam sannyasinam sadyo mukti ukta. So their realization is, liberation is, sadya means instantaneous, here itself, not posthumous, not hereafter, not after leaving the body. Meaning, their liberation is liberation from I. Sadyo mukti ukta. Karma yoga cha Ishvara arpita sarva bhavena Ishvare brahmani adhaya kriyamanaha sattva shuddhi jnana prapti sarva karman sannyasa kramena mokshaya iti Bhagavan pade pade abbravid vakshati cha. And also karma yoga. And karma yoga was also mentioned. So up to the 5th chapter, this 26th verse, What are the main two topics that are discussed? These are the main two topics. Samyak darshan nishtha, correct understanding about the self, Brahmatmaikya bodha, and second is the karma yoga. And what is the karma yoga? Karma yoga is Ishvara arpita sarva bhavena Ishvare brahmani adaya kriyamana. So all the activities are done for the sake of the Lord, offered to the Lord, or in and through all the activities the divinity is perceived. Karmani akarmayaha pashe. And by this, what will happen? Sattva shuddhi. First, your antakaran will become pure. When antakaran becomes pure, then jidnyasa is kindled. So, then jnana praptihi, then you will have shravan manan nididhyasan, then knowledge will be gained. Then after the right knowledge is there, sarva karma sannyasa will automatically happen. Sarva karma sannyasa means, like, there cannot be any doership for the water as ocean in the movement. But there will be a doership for the water as a river. Then I have to reach my destination. So there will be all kinds of activities, etc. But there will be sarva karma sannyasa because total lack of doership. In this manner, kramena, when this happened, mokshaya, this ultimately leads to the moksha, the liberation. So these are the four stages. First is sattva shuddhi, second is jnana prapti, third is sarva karma sannyasa, and the fourth one or the same thing is the moksha realization. Kramena, in this sequence, iti Bhagwan pade pade abravit. This is what Bhagwan has said again and again, in and through every word. And vakshati cha, and also will tell subsequently. Means what? This is the scheme that we all have to follow in life. So what is the scheme? Function in the outer world, but let our attention be on the quality of mind that is left behind. Let the mind be not depressed, not dejected, not moody, not lost, not lonely. These are all the loads, aberrations, abnormalities, unhealthy conditions of the mind. To remove that, this is the technique. I'll give one or two general techniques. First of all, if you feel like this, loss, mood is not there, start getting physical activities. So take out clothes of all the students in the hostel and start washing. Your mood will be immediately set right. It is better to have good mood than to wash clothes. It will be all right. Or else, this I am not telling you out of imagination. This is what has helped me a lot. The moment you feed in, like, don't go on sympathizing and immediately get into activity. And what kind of activity? Where all the pressure will be released. You know what is depression and all that? It is something like, when the infinite is trying to live within the limits of the finite, a funny expression comes. That is called as in depression. If your shoe number is 8, and if you put on a shoe number 7 and start walking, so how funny you will walk? In the same manner, that infinite reality functioning through the shoe number 6. Naturally, the expression will be funny. And what is the funny expression? Mood off, anger, desire, respect, lost. So what do you do? Exhaust yourself physically. Or else, see some movie, see some TV, go on, humming some songs. Not necessarily Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Don't eat that Rama's head. What happens, many times we don't understand that we are overdoing the things beyond our capacity. What is important is you are maintaining the quality of your mind in a beautiful manner. Many people have got that funny notion. If you are spiritual, how can you watch the TV? How can you listen to the cinema songs? There is one Swamiji, very nice Mahatma. Everybody goes to him. He gives a paper and takes undertaking from him. What is that? I will never watch TV. And that is his crusade against TV. So, the other day when I met him for the first time, this is about 4 or 5 years before. So, I was referring to something from TV. So the person who was with me, he put me. So I kept quiet. As if I said, what I was telling, I forgot. I said, what happened? Don't refer the word TV, because this Mahatma has taken this project in his hand. The world is destroyed because of TV. Now, what can you do, such person? All your goodness, all your wisdom is totally useless. See? How long are you going to keep somebody protected? Let them be strong within and then go in the world, rather than making the bonsai all the time. This is what many parents do, overprotection. And as a result, the children grow at the age of 35. Mummy, shall I go to bathroom? I am not joking. There are people. You know, this was told to me by one lady, a girl, married. She was telling me, Swamiji, I know you don't like complaint, but to whom will I talk? And that relieves me, so please allow me to. I said, okay, say. I am not listening. She said, no, you listen. Then she said this thing, Swamiji, my husband is good, everything is fine. But for every small little thing, we'll ask Mummy, we'll ask Papa. Now we are 35, and at the age of 35, if you are to go for a movie, and you are not staying in the same house, you are 6,000 miles away. So from there he will phone, Mummy, we are thinking of going for a movie, shall we go? Mummy says, no, last Sunday you already did. See, Mummy says no. Are you a human being or a bonsai? This kind of overprotection destroys the flowering of a person. Therefore here, please remember, very important thing. Keep attention on the quality of the mind. So, for such people, now, athaidanim dhyana yogam samyak darshanasya antarangam vistarena vakshami iti tasya sutra sthaniyan shlokan upadishati sma. Athaidanim now dhyana yogasya samyak darshanasya antarangam, the dhyana yoga, which is the prerequisite for correct understanding of the self. Because what was said, kama krodha viyuktanam yatinam yata chetasam. So unless yata chetasam, unless we have complete control over our faculties, then this is where the yoga abhyas come into play. Very, very important. You know what happens? When we have studied, learned Upanishad, Gita, etc., because it is available and we have got interest, we done that. But we have never taken care of this second aspect. Then how much time we have spent in taking care of our mind? Never. And therefore, you will come across many Vedantis who have studied, who are listening regularly, but their behavior is very erratic. Sometimes they are ha, hu, next moment hu, all the time. It is very difficult to talk to such people because you don't know how they will respond. What is the reason? They have not taken this second aspect into consideration. There is one lady somebody was talking to me. I said, Amma, she was remembering you. Oh, very good, Amma. Swamiji, but I am very afraid of her. So why? I don't know. It is very difficult to predict her. Sometimes she is in a good mood. She will come and hug and sing cinema song and prepare something in my kitchen. And Amma, I'll prepare this thing for you and all that. Next time she comes, something is hurting you. What can hurt me? Why are you like this? Like what? So it becomes so difficult to deal with such people. And why these ups and downs are so conspicuous? Because this is not taken care of. Therefore, friends, please remember, only study of scriptures without taking care of the mind is adding load on the mind. Like in this Panchadashi, Naradji's story comes that I have studied 64 Vidyas and yet I don't know, I am feeling very lost, I am feeling very lonely, depressed, rejected, dejected. Now what is the use of all the 64 Vidyas? Therefore, this is very, very important. Antarangam. This is the Antaranga sadhana. Be aware that we are not the victims of our mind. And what happens? The moment the proportion of awareness increases, the erratic behavior of the mind is quietened. And when the erratic behavior of the mind is quietened, then that controlled mind is applied for further deeper inquiry. So, atha idanim dhyana yogam samyak darshanasya antarangam vistarena vakshami. What is one of the reasons of this frustration that we come across? Many well-meant students who have studied properly. It is the frustration. Frustration of what? Frustration like this. Today when I was taking food, the small child sitting, eating with the hand, that watermelon. Poor fellow. So I told his mother, I said, why don't you cut him and give in a proper manner, or get him spoon at least. So she said, okay, go and get spoon. You get the spoon for me. I will not get. You get up and get. No, but you are a good boy, you can take. Yesterday you had given me. Then today you should give me. Why should I give you again? Swamiji, I said, shall I go and get it? No. What I have to tell it, see, this fellow doesn't listen to me. That frustration, when it happens with reference to our mind, I want to study, I don't feel like studying. I don't want to remember the past, but it again and again comes, and again I get disturbed. We are unnecessarily worried about something or the other. These are all the things to be worked upon. Therefore, how many times we have been telling you that the more we remain in the present, the more awareness we are in. The more we carry the load of the past, to that extent there is a lessening of the awareness proportion. To increase this awareness proportion, atha idanim dhyana yogam vakshami. Now I shall tell you dhyana. Tatsya sutra sthaniyan shlokan upadishati sma. And therefore Bhagavan gives introduction in the form of a cryptic statement about meditation. So actually 6th chapter begins from this 27th verse of the 5th chapter. This is how it begins. Sparshan krutva bahir bahyan Chakshushchaivantare bhruvoho प्राणापानौ समौ कृत्वा नासाभ्यन्तरचारिणौ स्पर्शान शब्दादीन कृत्वा बहिः बाह्यान श्रोत्रादि द्वारणे अंतर्बुद्धो प्रवेशिताः शब्दादयः विषयाः तान् अचिन्तयतः बाह्याः बहिः एव कृता भवन्ति. Let all the sense objects be kept outside. What is the meaning of keeping the objects outside? Achintayantaha. Don't start thinking about worldly objects, because the worldly objects enter our mind when we think about them. Now see, take this example. The surface of this container is very smooth. You can see that. Very nice and smooth. Now if I put this object inside very sharp and then press, so then there is a very tension in this area. In the same manner, mind plus sense of otherness creating a tension is called as entrance of the object in the mind. Object does not enter. The value that we give to the worldly objects, that value allows the entry of that object in the mind. Now, mind is basically consciousness if there is no sense of otherness. But consciousness with the sense of otherness is called as mind. And because of the sense of otherness, there is desire, there is anger, there is fear, there is liking, there is disliking. All these things put together is entry of the worldly objects in the mind. The first step is sparshan krutva bahir bahyan. Keep all the objects outside. You know, this how I had discovered this understanding, this meaning. This is not from any book. As I told you, all of us have got some obsessions. My obsession is cleanliness. And long time back, when I was staying in Calcutta in a room full of dust, dirt and everything. So I just wanted to clean, but the local fellow will not allow me to do. 6 months, only this was the topic my mind was working. But cleanliness is next to godliness. Why it doesn't allow? I am not asking any money. And if this 6 months I could not even do my Gayatri Japa. So much agitation. And what is the topic? Dust in the room. Look here. So one day it just clicked. I said, hey, what I am doing? Am I thinking about dust or Paramatma? What for I am here in this world? And when it clicked, then whole understanding became very clear. So the dust has entered my mind only because I have given too much importance. And in the same place, other person is very happily staying because he has given zero importance. So who is responsible? Neither the dust nor that man. It was my mistake that I have given undue importance to something in this world. The day I discovered this, thereafter nothing ever disturbs. Then what is the principle that came out, second principle? In this world, we have no right on anybody at all. When you give up your total rights, you have zero expectation level. When you have got zero expectation level, no disappointment. When you have got zero expectation level, you have learned this parshan krutva bahir bahyan. How our children enter us? They don't go physically inside. How they enter us? Only through expectation. I have done this much for them, but now nobody wants me. See? Or else out of anger, I don't want it, get out, I don't. This is all called as entering the world in our mind. Because we have given value. So if we have given value to anything in this world, it is we who have to devalue. And see, when this value is the cause, we don't understand what happens. For example, you want everybody should be disciplined. You want it. That is your desire. Discipline is the importance given by you. And then you go in the public place. So that public place is a public place. And it is India. Everybody has got a freedom. And you are a disciplinarian. So you start your lecture, and then somebody comes late, or somebody gets up and wants to go, and then you and then justify. What justify? Unless we teach discipline, people will not learn. We are in this world to teach the world, or we are in this world to learn and grow wise. See? This I learned from the life of Gadge Maharaj. Poor Mahatma, whole life he has kept a jhadu in his hand. Physical. He was a Siddha Purush, belonging to the scheduled caste, group. And to teach those people cleanliness, whole life he has spent only there. And yet, you see, no change whatsoever. But he has spoiled his life. Therefore, it is necessary that we have to devalue everything. When this is done, we have learned the first meaning. Sparshan krutva bahir bhaijan. Now nothing is entering. Now next time if you are disturbed by something, observe this verse. Suppose you are disturbed because of your mother, father, brother, sister, son, daughter, neighbor, or a health problem, or income tax problem. You will see that this is disturbing you because you have given importance to that. And that importance will be there as long as we will remain disturbed. The moment that importance is gone, again everything comes to naught. So every disturbance is a scheme of education created by the Lord for our growth. Please understand, in this Yoga Marga, where the Siddha Marga rather, there the teacher does not teach like the Acharya. We belong to the Acharya school. Like, Shirdi Sai Baba, etc., Nityananda Maharaj, they belong to the Avadhuta school. Now they don't teach through words. They create a situation. And they make you learn through that situation. Lord's approach is the second approach when the first approach fails. So he creates a situation in our life and makes us disturbed. Now see, Bhagavan Krishna, had he not created the situation for Arjun, Arjun would never have asked about the truth. So Bhagavan thought, I have to tell him, it is for his good. He doesn't want to know. How he doesn't want to know? I'll tell him. And then he created a situation. And when he created a situation, then the knowledge was given. See? Therefore, Sparshan Krutva Bahir Bhaiyan means encash every disturbance of your life to understand this sutra. Sparshan Krutva Bahir Bhaiyan. Remove that, you are fresh. Then Chakshushchaivantare Bhruvoho, the second step. Taneva Bahikritaha Chakshuhu cha eva antare Bhruvoho Krutva iti anushajjate. And thereafter, chakshuhu bhruvoho antare. Then bring your eyes in between the eyebrows. Now what is meant is, don't go on the crossroads, then looking into like this and all that. And then after some time, you will not get Paramatma, but you will get headache. Don't do that. Many people, they are struggling, closing the half eyes and then pulling themselves. You know what exactly happens? I'll tell you. See, this is the thread in a cloth and it is connected from the other end. I have not cut the thread from the other end. And without cutting it, I start pulling that thread. See what is happening. This kind of things happens when the mind is not detached from the body and you start by the force of your will pulling inside. And then all those mental aberrations create headache and some kind of funny experiences. That is not the spiritual practice. See? First, detach yourself from the shape of the body. When you detach yourself from the shape of the body, you have already dropped the body. You don't have to pull anywhere. Therefore, sparshan krutva bahirbayan chakshushtayivantare bhruvoho. That means then now you have come to the center of your personality, which is everywhere. In Yoga Shastra, this Agya Chakra is the place of Aham Brahmasmi Anubhuti. Aham Brahmasmi means I am everywhere. There is nothing other than I. So if there is nothing other than I, if I am everywhere, means what? I give up the shape and the form and identification with the body. This is the meaning. Chakshushtayivantare bhruvoho. Don't physically struggle for the wrong understanding. See, that day when that Mahatmaji came, I asked him this question. I said, Maharaj, many people talk because he is from the same path. So they talk about this Kundalini, Jagrati or the Chakra Bhed. And somehow it doesn't click me. Although I have practiced and all what they say, every experience I have gone through, yet it doesn't attract my mind. It doesn't remain there. What is this? So he said, it is not necessary. How important. It is not necessary. Everything is not meant for everybody. Because the understanding of Bheda, I told him, I said, my understanding of Bheda is like this. When we say Mooladhara Chakra Bheda has taken place, then I have understood this. When mind is functioning from the Mooladhara, then the gross body identification is the experience. This is the secret. When the mind is functioning from the Swadhisthana, then desire, Kamana is the expression in the mind. When the same mind is functioning through the Manipur Chakra, then greed and the astral plane and more and imagination, that takes place. When the same mind is at the level of the Anahata Chakra, there you are clearly able to experience the Aham Vritti versus Idam Vrityaha. And when you are able to stand apart from the Idam Vrittis, the Vritti aspect of the Aham also disappears. Then the mind is expressing through the Vishuddhi Chakra, but not as ego. And when the same mind is expressing through the Agya Chakra, even the individuality, Atma Jnana is diluted and Aham Brahmasmi Anubhuti takes place. He said, yes, this is what is the right understanding. But what we normally do, we get lost into something is happening there, something. This is all happening, there is no doubt. But that is not the meaning. And therefore, chakshushtayivantare bhruvoho, don't get carried away only by bringing the mind over there and then struggling thereafter. There was one student, he was having headache, went for CT scan and his doctor, Ayurveda and every kind of thing. And finally, out of the 2.5 years course, 2 years he has spent like this. I was observing him every day. So one day he got so disgusted, he came to me, Swamiji, I am having this problem for last 2 years. I have tried everything, nothing helps. I said, why didn't you come to me earlier? I will stop it in 3 days. And then I told him, from tomorrow you are not going to come for a meditation class. You are not going to do any chanting. You enjoy next 15 days. If you want to go out, go, I will give you money. If you want to go and see a movie, go and see a movie. If you want to go and eat something, go and eat something and then come back after 3-4 days. I won't stop you. So he did not do all that, but he stopped the classes. And within 3-4 days, slowly, then wrongly built up pressure was reduced. And then he came. He said, Swamiji, I am feeling better. I said, sit now with me. And then I did a little massage to his head. I said, now go back. Thereafter he never had headache. What was this headache? Chakshushtayivantare bhruvo. That was the headache. Now, pranapanam samokrutva, nasabhyantaracharino, the third step. You remember I explained you always that let the breathing be slow and shallow. So, nasabhyantaracharino. And both the nostrils, not only one way, Ida or the Pingla. No. And this automatically takes place when you have the Asan Siddhi or when you have done the deep pranayam. It takes the balance perfectly all day. Now, when your breathing has become so slow and shallow, that which is expressing as breathing is the Chetana Spanda. The throb of the consciousness is responsible for the breathing possibility. And because of that, now the consciousness also start quietening the throb. And ultimately, when we come to the Kevala Kumbhaka, the consciousness, Gati, movement has come to a total standstill. And when the Gati of the prana is totally stopped, there is no reason why the waves of thoughts will come. As a result, the mind comes back to the consciousness. This Chaitanyikaran of the prana and the mind is called as the progress on the spiritual path. And thereafter, we live as consciousness through the mind, we live as consciousness through the prana, we live as consciousness through the body. So, pranapano samo krutva nasabhyantaracharino. Now continuing further, yatendriya mano buddhi munir moksha parayanaha vigatecha bhaya krodhaha yes sada mukta eva saha. So we have started our meditation from page, verse 27. Now second condition. Yatendriya manobuddhi. Yatani sanyatani indriyani manobuddhi cha yasya sa yatendriya manobuddhi. He who has done now the whole exercise. What is that? Yama niyama asana pranayam pratyahara dharana dhyana samadhi. Pratyahara is yata indriya. By pratyahar we control the senses. Manaha we control the mind by the sayyama. And buddhihi we control the buddhi by giving up the efforts. Whenever efforts are associated, buddhi is functional. Whenever cause and effect is vibrant, buddhi is functional. So yatendriya manobuddhi, therefore pratyahar, then Sayyama and the efforts are completely gone. Yatendriya Manobuddhi. Further, Mananat Munihi Sannyasi, and he is Muni Sannyasi. He has now clear understanding about where he is proceeding. Karmani Akarmayaha Pashet. That is the knowledge in which he is abiding. Then Muni Moksha Parayanaha. Evam Deha Samsthanaha Moksha Parayanaha Moksha Eva Param Ayanam Paragati Yasya Saha Ayam Moksha Parayanaha Muni Bhavet. So while he is in the body, Deha Samsthanaha Eva Moksha Parayanaha. Although he is in the body, but his attention is freedom from the body identification, because body identification is valid through the senses, the mind and the intellect. And he who has full control over senses, mind and intellect, he has already controlled the body and body identification. So Muni Moksha Parayanaha. Further, Vigatecha Bhaya Krodhaha. Ichha Bhaya Cha Krodhaha Cha. Ichha Bhaya Krodhaha. Te Vigata Yasma Sah Vigatecha Bhaya Krodhaha. He who from whom the desire, fear and anger has gone. Kama Krodho Tatha Lobhaha Tasmad Etatrayam Tajet. So this Bhaya, Ichha, Krodha, these are the three possibilities only under two conditions. Condition number one, when we consider ourselves to be a limited one. Condition number two, when we consider the world as other than ourselves. Then only there is desire, then only there is fear, then only there is anger. In deep sleep, these two things are temporarily arrested. There is no sense of separation or limited existence, and there is no sense of otherness. Therefore, in deep sleep, we have neither desire, nor fear, nor anger. So he who while living in his body has experienced this, he is Vigatecha Bhaya Krodhaha. Now see the beauty. Yaha evam vartate, he who is thus living, sada sannyasi mukta eva saha. He is already liberated. There is nothing more liberation than this. See? So what is this? This is liberation from the desire. Who has the desire? He who has desire is the jiva. So this is the liberation from the jiva bhava. Therefore, this is liberation from I, not liberation of I. So, yaha evam vartate sada, he who is thus living all the time in this understanding, sannyasi saha mukta eva saha na tasya mokshaha anyaha kartavyaha asti. For him there is nothing more to be done or nothing more to be achieved. Flash to Kathoparishad, where we were told by Yamaraj to Nachiket, Yada panchavatishtante jnanani manasasah buddhischana vicheshtate tamahu paramam gatim. Yada panchavatishtante jnanani, when all the five senses manasasah along with the mind avatishtate, they remain where they are. They don't go for grazing in their own field. And buddhischana vicheshtate, here also yatendriya manobuddhi, same words. Buddhischana vicheshtate, there is no effort, doership, etc. Tamahu paramam gatim, that is called as realization. This is what is here. Oh, it is so simple now. We will start it right away. So now I will keep my senses under control. Then I will not necessarily go on imagining, and I will drop my ego, and I want nothing in this world. That itself is called as realization. Naturally, I won't have any desire, fear or anger. I can do with everything except anger. So, na tasya kartavyaha asti evam samahita chittena kim vidneyam iti uchyate. Now, he who has thus made himself fully available to himself. Now, what he has to vidneyam, what he has to know. So, भोक्तारं यज्ञ तपसाम् सर्वलोकमहेश्वरम् सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति. Now such a samahita chittaha, such a seeker who has now made himself fully available, he alone can recognize me. See? Here me means your own self or Bhagavan Krishna, whatever you take. How he is recognized? Now see the recognition of the self. First, yajna tapasam bhoktaram. Bhoktaram yajnanam tapasa cha katrupena devata rupena cha. So, we function in such a manner if we are doing yajna. Yajna is done for the sake of the God. Oh God, may you be propitiated and bless us. So the one who is invoked through the yajna is me, Lord says. And the one who is doing the tapasya for the invocation of the Lord through the yajna, he has to sacrifice. He has to undergo through a lot of hardships. Meaning, he who recognizes me as the doer of the tapasya, he who recognizes me as the God who is propitiated through the yajna, who recognizes me as Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Sarvesham Lokana Mahantam Ishwaram, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. That I is the ultimate controller, creator, destroyer of the whole universe. And although this is such a big thing, yet Suvrudam Sarva Bhutanam, Sarva Praninam Pratyupakara Nirapekshataya Upakarinam. And yet I is showering grace on everybody without any expectation. In this manner, Sarva Bhutanam Hrudaya Deshayam, abiding in the hearts of all beings, Sarva Karma Phaladhyaksham, Sarva Pratyaya Sakshinam. If you consider yourself to be the Jiva, then Karma Phaladhyaksha is the Ishvara. If you consider yourself to be the absolute self, then Sarva Pratyaya Sakshinam. He who is the illuminator of all the thoughts, etc. In this way, Mam Narayanam Jnatva, knowing me, the supreme reality, Shantim Sarva Samsara Uparatim Ruchati Prapnoti. He attains absolute bliss. And what is absolute bliss? Sarva Samsara Uparatim. And what is samsara? Leading a life of relativity is samsara. So he who has thus recognized the self as Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasa, the one who is tapasya and therefore suffering, and the one who is propitiated and all the bhogas are offered to him and therefore who is enjoying, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. In this manner, Sarva Bhutanam Hridayam, Sarva Bhutanam Surudam, Mam Jnatva. So recognize yourself to be that absolute reality. In this manner, Saha Shanti Mruchati. Now see, all of us what we are seeking is this. After every mantra, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, go ahead. So that even the very word Shanti is not said with Shanti. There is a hurry behind the Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. In one school, there was one principal, a wife of a very filthy rich man. She has nothing to do, so she became a principal of one Birla school. It happened in Kolkata. And I was called to give one talk to the assembly. So I went. And that lady, the whole life she has done nothing, and now she was destroying that school. So the students, they did their prarthana. And in their prarthana, this was one of the prarthana. Om Sana Bhavatu Sano Bhunaktu Saviryam Karvai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And they ran. And then I went to her room and she said, Swamiji, I am thinking of changing the wordings of this prayer. Why 3 times Shanti, Shanti, Shanti? One is enough. Om Shanti. I said, you have the freedom because you are born in the Hindu religion. You can change even the Vedas. This is from Veda? I said, no, this is written by Birlaji. See, Om Shanti, 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 everything has got a meaning. And that meaning is our own self. Shanti Mruchati, you come to the experience of undisturbed, peaceful existence in spite of the world around. And that is called as realization. Om Tassarati Shrimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama Panchamodhyayaha. With this we conclude the 5th chapter. In our next class we will start the 6th chapter. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.